Hello and welcome, folks, to this 84th edition to the REBT Advocates with Dr. Michael R. Edelstein of 3minutetherapy.com. You can find his book at myrebt.life. I'll put the link in the bottom here. And me, Tommy Bateman, counselor, the wonderful counselor extraordinaire of RVA, Richmond, Virginia. We both do online therapy, so if you're interested, hit us up. We'll have some contact information below. Now, on to our topic today. First off, thank you for your great comments, the likes, the shares, the subscriptions. Really keeps us going. Really appreciate that. So I think you guys who subscribe to this channel will be really interested in this topic. So Michael, I've done no research into this topic whatsoever. So you tell me, Michael, what are we doing today?
Okay, well, we're discussing pornography and
Porn.
particularly the way people deal with it and get themselves into trouble with it. So why don't we start out by defining pornography? And pornography is generally any sexually arousing material. Usually it's either text, books, or videos, photos, those kinds of things, which you find sexually arousing. So one person's pornography might not be another, it might be another person's Shakespeare or anything. So it's really in the mind of the beholder to a large extent, although there is some general agreement.
Oh, yeah.
Now, usually the two ways people use pornography, either they enjoy viewing it, if it's photographs or videos, or reading it. And the other way is often people masturbate while viewing it or reading it, and other people don't. They just look at it or read it. And the main reasons people use pornography, the sexually explicit and arousing material, is because they enjoy it. That's a novel notion, but that, like anything else that's pleasurable, people tend to do it.
Now, do you think, before we go into the RBT aspects of this, do you think B.F. Skinner had a point when it comes to something like this, things that are pleasurable that we'll just keep on doing it and doing it nearly compulsively, or we'll have some sort of wires firing together when it comes to this this particular enjoyment?
Well, I think we have a tendency to do it, but many people, whether it's pornography or alcohol or reading a novel or anything that's enjoyable, many people keep doing it and addict themselves to it, which we'll discuss shortly. But many people don't. They limit their pleasurable activities within the framework of advantages and disadvantages and use of time, those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Okay, and then with anything that's enjoyable, there are often practical problems that come up with humans who have goals and have conflicts and competing goals. So there are often practical problems, which we'll discuss, and emotional problems. So since we're REBT therapists, we'll address the emotional problems first. So one of the main emotional or behavioral problems that people have with addiction, with pornography, when they do, is addiction or using it compulsively, that they enjoy using it or they have an urge to use it. And no matter what the negative consequences, they decide, I have to satisfy my urge, so I'll view pornography or masturbate no matter what the disadvantages are. So, and we have a few podcasts and YouTube videos on addictions, and the addiction to pornography has the same structure of any other addiction. These musts, I must satisfy my urge, or I must do it some more, and leads to global evaluations. It's awful if I deny myself. It's the end of the world. I can't stand feeling frustrated, those kinds of things. So you recognize that structure in any addiction. It's just that the content is different, but the content is almost always pleasurable, or at least thought of as pleasurable in advance. People tell me, not so much with pornography, but like with crack, I don't know why I do it. I don't even enjoy it. Well, the reason they do it, not necessarily addicted, but do it, is because in advance, they think they're going to enjoy it. So
Mhm.
that's why they do it. And often they do, and they get further reinforcement.
There's another, when I work with addictions, and I can talk more about that than porn. I don't even know what porn looks like, but with addictions, there's in my view, there's another A there, right? There's another activating event. And so when we engage in these type of pleasurable activities, and really this is any pleasurable activity, eating, working out, whatever you like, whatever's your thing, video games, whatever, there is such a thing as dopamine being dumped in your brain during that time. And then there's these habits that start to form that, you get this trigger when it comes to habits. Trigger, you're starting to feel stress. Then this urge comes above you, this craving comes around you, and what you're trying to do is get to the reward of not feeling stressed anymore, or whatever it is for you. But I see that as an A all its own, right? So the urge itself, the craving itself, and I think Michael even said this, you feel this urge first. I call that the A. The urge is the A. That's not the emotion that we need to dispute. The urge or the craving is the A. Now we go to the B. Just because I have urge, do I have to fulfill it? And so on and so forth. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yeah, that's very good. Very good. That's a good clarification. And reminds me of another irrational belief people have with addictions like pornography or masturbation. And that is, I can't control myself because I have an urge. I have no choice. I have to look at the pornography or I have to masturbate. And that's false. And a clear way to show a client it's false is to give them the hypothetical situation. Suppose you're just about to open a pornographic book and someone breaks into your apartment, takes out a gun, and says, if you open that book, I'll shoot. Obviously, you're not going to open the book. So that shows it's false to say I can't control it. And what you really mean is it's difficult,
Mhm.
but difficult doesn't equal impossible, and it doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah, and that's I've dealt with this with a lot of addicted folks with substances. They'll think, oh, because I felt the urge, I've already lost the battle. No, no. But anyway, you're
Exactly.
going to make some more points.
Right. And you've lost the battle when you tell yourself, I've already lost the
Yeah,
battle.
exactly,
Then
exactly.
you lost the battle.
Hmm.
Then another aspect of pornography and guilt that I've had clients who were dealing with was my partner. If my partner found out, or maybe she knows about it and she feels hurt or would feel hurt, this is my responsibility and I must not hurt my partner. Allows for doing so.
Hmm.
So as we've demonstrated in many videos, and I'll briefly go over, all musts and shoulds are false. There are no psychopathological shoulds and musts, except in our heads. We make them up. And there is no law of the universe that must not hurt your partner. And then secondarily, if your partner has an emotion, he or she has the same biology as you, and their emotions, like hurt, don't come from the situation you using pornography, but rather what they're telling themselves. Now, that doesn't absolve you of all responsibility. You're still the activating event, but they're creating their emotion.
Yeah, and you mentioned guilt, and I want to take this opportunity to mention something often connected to it. I'm a religious person, right? I'm a pretty conservative Christian. So what do I think of pornography? What does the Bible say about such topics? It's objectively wrong, right? But let's move on. So we let's say we've done this objectively wrong thing. That's our activating event. We've done it. Can we still REBT this? Is there still a must there? An irrational must? Yes.
There may
Yes.
be, there
Yeah.
doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Yeah. There may be. So is it so when I say I've done this objectively wrong thing, I can't go, well, ideally I shouldn't have done that, meaning it would have been better if I didn't. That's a rational statement. But I can't then go say, and obviously I'm a lousy blah 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 because of that. I'm a lousy SOB. I can't pass judgment on myself. Again, even in Christianity, that's not your job. The judgment, not you. So I just wanted to mention that when it comes to the guilt piece, even if you hold to the objective moral value that Christianity, that pornography is wrong, or sexual sin, blah blah, and all those, that realm of morality, you can still use REBT, and it's still very effective in this case. In this case, the goal is to not sin, right? We can use REBT to work our way in that direction as well.
Yes, and a more mundane example is, let's suppose you steal and you believe it's wrong to steal, which most people believe.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I must not steal. I'm a bad person. It just means it would be preferable not to steal, highly desirable not to steal. How can I do better in the future, rather than condemning myself?
Mm-hmm.
Another must that comes up with pornography is self-condemnation. I must not lose control. My goal was not to look at pornography today, and I did. I lost control, and I must not. And again, as with all musts, it's false. It would be preferable not to lose control, but since you're an imperfect human who acts imperfectly, of course, at times you'll lose control. The issue is, how can you do better next time?
Mm-hmm. And a lot
And
of people
then,
take that the opposite direction. I must not use pornography, or I must not do this, whatever action it is. And when they do it, they go, well, obviously it's hopeless. And then they just re-engage in that behavior to even stronger degree. This, I think, is often I've seen with addictions of any type, that they fail to abstain because they're imperfect humans. So go figure, we fail from time to time. But because they fail to abstain, they go, oh, that's because I'm an alcoholic, or, oh, that's right, I'm a sexual deviant. So of course I'm going to do these things. Well, I might as well go for it. It's hopeless for me.
very good. And by the way, Tommy, you said we fail from time to time. Not me. I fail a lot of the time.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
you
it's
weren't
my goal.
including me in that.
I mean,
Another emotion, disturbed emotion, that sometimes goes along with pornography and other addictions, is depression.
mm-hmm.
I've been using pornography a week. My goal was to abstain. I should not have been doing it. I'm a hopeless person. I can't control myself. I may as well lie down and bury myself.
Yeah.
So again, these must just lead to bad results. They're not in line with reality, and they're not logical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Tommy, we're at a decision point. We were going to go over some practical problems involved with
Mm-hmm.
pornography, so we could go over our
Let's do that.
usual time limit. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that, because I have a couple things. I mean, so unless this is, I think, is a good segue to that topic. So, what REBT, does it say whether you should or should not use pornography? No, it has nothing to say about that. But does medical research, the psychological research, have an opinion? It would say, and I'm just condensing it down, it would say pornography is likely not good for a marriage relationship, or not healthy. There's healthier decisions than the frequent use of pornography. Whether or not it's right or wrong is outside of those sciences, but would one say it's healthier or not? So uh, outside of REBT, but perhaps in the social science and the medical sciences, yes, there's an opinion there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Now, in terms of practical problems, in deciding on what to do with your life and in every day, every minute, normally it involves weighing advantages versus disadvantages. So pornography has certain advantages, which may be fairly obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It's pleasurable. And if you masturbate with the pornography to orgasm, then you have a physical release, which often afterwards is relaxing, feels good. And you can enjoy pornography with a partner. So that would be another advantage of pornography. But there are also disadvantages. As Tommy pointed out, it contradicts, if you have certain religion or other moral principles, it might go against that. So that would be at least a practical problem if you don't make it into an emotional problem.
Mm-hmm.
It could waste time if you do it to excess, or you avoid other things because you're looking at pornography or masturbating. That could waste that valuable time when you could be accomplishing accomplishing other things. And also, it could lead to friction with a partner, because sometimes I have clients, usually males, actually exclusively males in my experience, whose partner is jealous or doesn't like the fact that their male partner is using pornography. So it could create friction with a partner.
Mhm.
So those are some disadvantages, and it's up to you to weigh the advantages versus the disadvantages, whether you do it or do it frequently or infrequently, the amount of time you use, those kinds of things.
Mhm.
Now, a particularly interesting practical problem is that comes up sometimes is it cheating? Am I cheating on my partner if I look at pictures of attractive people, or if I masturbate reading texts, sexy texts, or things like that? And different people have different views. I wonder what yours is, Tommy. But my view is it depends on what your agreement is with your partner. I don't think there's an absolute right or wrong about whether it's cheating. It depends on what your agreement is. And if your partner is upset, not about your using the pornography, because that can't upset them, but they upset themselves about it, then you have a practical problem there. And if your partner says, I don't, you're cheating, then that opens up a discussion. How are we defining cheating? And would we include this under cheating or not? And then what are our ground rules or agreements about this kind of cheating, if it is, or use of pornography? And then once you have a clear understanding with each other about what cheating consists of within the context of your relationship as you see it, then you have a clearer way to know how to operate. So
Mhm.
that's my idea about cheating. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you, Tommy?
It makes sense to me. I differ on this completely, and I think it would not surprise many of our viewers when I say, and I quote, "If you look at a woman with lust, you've cheated, or you have committed adultery in your heart." Right? That
Yep.
is straight out of the Beatitudes.
So you mean you would tell a client who wants to know if he's cheating, you would say, yes, you're cheating, or would you say it depends on what agreement you have with your partner?
I would say, well, if you ask me, what do you define as cheating? And I would tell them straight out of the Beatitudes, the Sermon on the Mount, what my definition of cheating is. Now, you know, again, that's a philosophical discussion. I mean, philosophy is about the definition of words. So what does cheating mean? Well, in my worldview, it is that. So yeah, it's I wouldn't say it depends on your agreement with the partner, but again, that's my objective moral value or my personal values.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good on that interesting two perspectives.
Mm.
Uh, I'd just like to remind you viewers that if you enjoyed this, please comment, give us a like, support us on Patreon, and subscribe to the REBT Advocates to stay on the rational side of life.